good morning, and this is our introduction to Microsoft PowerPoint. This is session 2. Let's transition and animate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our second session, which we will talk a lot about the transitions and animation in PowerPoint. This is a very fun presentation because we are going to explore some of the different features that you have inside that will allow you to really spruce up your presentation. Before we get underway, let me go through a few housekeeping procedures real quick. For everyone to hear, please stay muted during the presentation. This presentation is being recorded for training purposes and for the future use to the public. Please jot down your questions and we will go over everything at the conclusion of the training. When we do get to the Q&A session of the training, that is the conclusion of this training. All right, and a little overview of today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about discovering those animations and how you can capture your audience with them. You're also going to learn a little bit about the effects and the timing. And when we talk about that, we're going to be seeing a little bit about how you can transition slides, use the effects. You can also, if you want to get a little bit even deeper, you can use the timing features and you can space out exactly how you want to record the time on the slide and go into the transition of the next slide. So we'll look a little bit at that today as well. And then we're going to see a bunch of these options about how to just use different slide transitions. So a lot to cover today, but I'm really excited to share this with you. All right, let's begin and let's animate. When we talk about animation, we're also talking a little bit about one of the tabs that are at the top. As you look right down here at the bottom, you will see that we have another tab called animation. And in the animation, you can do lots of different styles. Like, for instance, you can have it star like it appear out there, or you can have it fade, or even fly in, or even float in, just floating in sort. Or you can also where it can split the screen. And then wipe, shape, the wheel, you could actually have it like a circle wheel, and just random bars can go all across the page and just transition to another way. So there's a lot of different things. And with that animation, this helps the audience attention, and it can be drawn in each presentation slide. You can do this with every slide if you want. You can even switch slides off and on. You can do a different transition per slide. So those are some different ways you can look at it. But the main points here, and that the flow of information, it can be controlled through the use of animation. That's why PowerPoint is so impressive, because you can individualize each slide and put a different type of animation inside. But as you see right here at the bottom, this is kind of what the animation tab will look like. We'll actually do the live example here in just a little bit, but we'll get to see how that is applied. And again, it's really, really cool how you can then take one thing of text and you can take another image even, and you can change the way that they animate all the way through the program. So a little bit of everything we're going to see today. And again, with animation, you can apply this animation to, like I said, different text and objects. It allows them to give them sound and visual effects. It also helps you focus on other points. You can emphasize stuff a little bit more. That's one thing that's really fun about it, PowerPoint, is you can take the individual details one by one and put animation to them. Sometimes you don't want to overdo it, though. But the great part about it is that you can apply these things to the individual text boxes. And it also helps control the flow of the information, and will also help with the increase of the viewer's interest in that presentation. There's a lot of things that you can do with animation. You can also do way too much animation too. So very important, though, it's a good balance. But you do, again, a lot of these text and objects, you can give them a sound effect or a visual effect, though, and it does help you enhance that presentation. Also with animation, there's also, you can apply the built-in animation where you can select that object and text that you want to animate. And then from that animations tab that you saw before, which again, we go back here a little bit, in this tab here, you then can go back and then in the group of it, you can select whatever effect you want to put in that animated list. So now we're going to go ahead and jump to the fun part. We're going to go into a live demonstration, and we're going to actually use this presentation, for example, like you're seeing right now. So let me switch slides real quick, and we're going to go over to the presentation in just a moment here. And here we go. Okay, so now we are in the presentation of Microsoft PowerPoint. This is just a prime example of how we can take this presentation, we're going to put some animation to it. So let's get started. So again, one of the things I want to share with you that's not really on the major slides is the slide sorter view. I want to go into the view section right now of our tabs, and I want you to look at this thing called slide sorter. Now, slide sorter is so cool because you can now see the bird's eye view of the PowerPoint presentation. And again, we have about 17 slides here, and which is a nice presentation, which again, we will, and then no peeking to the other stuff because I don't want you to lose out on everything that we're about to do. But in this live demonstration, I want you to see how we can apply this stuff and make it really fun. So let me do this here. I'm going to move something really quick over here. Okay, so now inside here, we've got all of our slides. We then can go in, and in the animation part of it, we can actually apply some of this stuff in here. Now, for instance, and I have to go in here, and I want to start on slide 1. So I go on to slide 1, and I see I have all of this stuff here. I can click on text box, and as you saw, everything started activating, okay? So now what we can do is I could say that I want this to fly in, for instance. It's going to give you a sample of how that works. You also will see down here below, you'll have a number 1, which is the first animation that I have applied to here. So you will see that in when you do a preview of this slide, like right here, you can actually view it just like that in the play mode, how it will look. So that's how, again, you can apply a transition and you can animate this particular box. So I've already done this one now. I can also, if I wanted to, I could do the actual title slide too and do it like a wheel or whatever, just like that. And now you see we've gone now to the second one as well. So if I go into preview, let's transition and animate the introduction to Microsoft PowerPoint. So again, you can also change the order of this as well, which is really cool. So that's another thing that we can look at as well. And I believe you do that. Let me go back here, and I'm going to actually hide my thumbnail real quick. Let's go back here. Okay, so now we've got on here, we've already added the animation and all. And let's see here. Take this off. We can also go over here and reorder it as well. So now we had this. We can also reorder it. Let's see here. And I can move this here with the previous. And now I can actually add that when it goes on, when Let's Transition Animate happens, this happens too. If I preview it, all of that's going on at the same time, all right? So that's a great thing about it. You can move these here. You can also, like I said, you could change this one here, reorder the thing, and you can do after previous. So, like I say, okay, so now I can again preview this, and all of that comes together. Cool. So now let's go back to our slide sorter view real quick, and so now we have something with animation on it. Now that's also been applied across here. These little stars here. You also see you'll have a little indicator that there's stuff going on here. Okay, so now I can go in here. I'm going to go to my second number 2 right here. Now in animations, I could say on this part here, and I can also do random bars too, just like that. So I can set that up as well. And then if I wanted to do that, I can again go ahead and do the slideshow from the beginning. And there we go. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I forget this is in the presentation mode. Hold on just a second here. Maybe better if in this example, let's go back to just doing preview. So let's go in here, animations, and let's look at our second slide and preview it just like that, okay? And again, this is how you can do animations. It's really kind of cool. And you can do all from this part. You can change, if you want to change the type of thing you want to do, you can do that too. So all of this is customizable. Swivel, the bounce, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I mean, all of those different things. You have so many options here. And you can also go, even there's more effects to it as well. You can choose a lot of these on here too. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with animations. But there's also, again, like I mentioned, you can do too much of it. If you have lots of text on here, you could do it. It could be a little bit too much as well. So keep that in mind though. But the animations are kind of fun. You can take those and add them to your slides. All right. So now let's go back here. I'm going to go back over to view and slide sorter. Again, you have all of these things here that you can do that. All right, and let's do this. I'm going to switch on over to the slideshow view here, and I'm going to take off presenter view for next time I do. And presenter view is great because, and we talked maybe a little, we just touched on it a little bit last time, but presenter view, again, it shows, again, the full screen slideshow on one monitor and a speaker view. And again, this is for you, if you're the speaker, this is the speaker view on another monitor. So a lot of people have dual monitors, and this is kind of an example of this. And you can then take, let's see here. So like this, again, the presenter view, come back up again. There we go. Again, on another monitor, it'll show on another monitor a preview of the next slide, giving you kind of a little heads up of what's coming up. And then your speaker notes, if you add notes on each slide, it'll show that up as well. If you have one monitor, you can then use the alternate Alt F5 to help try out that presenter view. So again, there's a lot of different ways you can view your presentation. A lot of times too, you can do, and like we talked about timings, which we'll talk about in just a moment. You can add timings to these slides too. If you get you're rehearsing it and you want to be able to have a certain amount of time on each slide. Say for instance, you want 10 seconds on there, you could do that. And so when you hit rehearse timings, you can do a practice with it. And like I said, you can get in here, and because I have the dual monitors, I'm not going to be able to show it raw well. But what it'll do though, and then I'll show you, what I will show you again, if I bring it up, I rehearse the timings, it does bring this little window over, okay? As you can see here, you can then practice your stuff on here, and then you can actually hit the button to switch the slides, okay? Now, see, it's counting right now like 13 seconds. Now I'm done with this slide. I want to hit next. All right. So now you've done that part, and now it says, see, it puts 6 seconds down here for the first one. And then I want to go to the next one. So again, you can practice these things as well. So there's a lot of things you can do with these presentations. You can rehearse the slides, you can add the animation. There's a lot of things here. And then, like I say, in the slideshow view, from in here, you could actually see the show hitting F5 or hitting this button, start from the beginning. But animations, you can apply these all to across your presentation. And I mean, all of those you can customize at any time as well. So right now, like I say, this is the live view. I wanted you to kind of see this, that in here you can select different types of animation. And like when I came in, I go back into the slide mode where I can see all of this. And you click on a text box like this, you can change any of these things out. And now you have a actual animation applied to that slide. Okay. So now you've seen animations, and this is, again, I wanted to show the difference because there's another one called transitions that we'll see in just a moment, and that's also a little bit different, but it also works hand in hand, almost like we've seen in other past presentations. A lot of these things work hand in hand in all the different platforms. They just have a little bit different meaning, and some of them resonate more than others. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and head back to the presentation real quick. Let me stop this one real quick, and I will add, let's see here, see if I can get this to go. Here we go. And screen share, and I'm going to go back to presentation. Okay, so here we go. There we go. So now what we've got here is, again, that we just did the live demonstration with this. And now we're going to talk about what we just mentioned, transitions. And we look at transitions and everything. Again, you can add these different transitions to slides. As you saw up there, we have a different type of tab up here right next to animations. In transitions, again, you could select it and choose these. This is how like the slide will move, not necessarily the text and objects, but how your slide will actually move from slide to slide. Now you look in here and you see that we have all of these different options, just like we did with animations. However, when you change slides, this is what's going to happen. So again, you can do difference between fade, the pushing, sharing of the actual, share of these type of transitions. And then you can also do like a curtain and splits like you see right here. There's lots of different transitions you can do. But again, there is a little bit different. So each of these have a different type of tab, transitions and animations. And on the transitions, along the right-hand side of that transition option, you will see also, it'll allow you a chance to modify how long of the transition you want to do. You see right here in the big box, this is with the duration of the slide. Right now it's showing a minute. You can actually increase that. You can have the little arrows right here, and you can increase these a minute 10, a minute 20, or even less to like 45 seconds. So you have a lot of changes the way you can do this slide. You can also add sound whenever it switches. You can add the sound to it. Also, if you're just want to do it with a mouse click, you can have this activated in the box where it says on mouse click. And you can even apply a transition after a certain amount of time with that click. Pretty cool, huh? So that's where you can see a lot of these different transitions. You can, again, change the amount of time that the slide stays there, and it can move in, over a matter of 15 seconds into the slide, 30 seconds, you name it. That's checked there. It'll transition the slide to the next one. But again, it allows you to you can modify these durations. It also features the ability to play that sound, like I mentioned, and then control whether or not you want to change to the next slide. It's all in your hands. That's what's so great about transitions. You can control at how fast, how slow, and what kind of transition style you want to go from one slide to the next. Ooh, went a little fast. So again, here on the transitions, you also can do exit effects. So when you leave the next one slide and go to the next, this is another way you can actually transition to. So you can apply these. You can create this effect on that, that you can show when you exit one slide and then enter another slide. We mentioned slideshow view, and again, that is one of those where you can then, we talked about rehearsing timings. You can then add certain timings to certain slides. If you want one slide to go a lot longer than another, you can actually tell it, I want it to go for 30 seconds instead of 15. And you can tell it, and it will do it for you, whether it's on click or whether it's actually automatic. All of those are available. But again, slideshow tab is for that presenter to have an easy access to the presentation mode, and it will allow you to do rehearsing the timings as well as record that slideshow. So let's go back in here and we'll review again. So let's go back in here to our presentation, and let me pick up here. Here's the PowerPoint. Okay, so now we've got here, let's see. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I think there we go. I'm at the wrong one. My apologies. So now we're back in here in our regular slide mode. So we can go in the slideshow part of it. Like I showed you, you can actually rehearse the timings, and you can actually add all of these things in here, and that will allow you to change slides. Now in slideshow, and like again, you can go back in here, and let me move my little thing over here. In the view section here, you can actually look at. You can also have all these other different views too. You have outline view you can see, and this gives you, like I say, a breakdown of where your slides are looking at. Slide sorter is one of my favorites. Like I say, you can actually transition these slides looking at a bird's eye view, and take these slides, and then you can actually readjust them from kind of up in the cloud, almost looking downward. And you can right click on these things. You can add sections. We've talked about those sections before, and then you can actually create sections on here. When I say add a section, you're actually breaking up these slides into one thing. You have it then when you have this, you have the introduction here. You can also take it where you can now change this section, and I could put in, let's say, for instance, the agenda or something if you want to. And then in the orange there and red, you can now change this to agenda. And I can do it again. I can do another section if I want, rename it. So all of these things you can do. Let's see here. But like I say, you can rename it, you can add more stuff. So I mean, there's just lots of things here. We're going to remove the section, brings it back here to that. So, like I say, you can break these sections up anytime. So that was sections, and then you also on some of these. Let me go back here. So like I say, the slide sorter view is probably my favorite. And then you also have reading view. You can actually turn this in here, and you can actually view the PowerPoint in the reading view as well, and transition these things as well. If you hit escape, that also takes you back to your slide sorter view or whatever view you were on before. So that's also a very nice thing to do. Again, Slide Master. I want to talk about this part real quick too. Slide Master is really, really neat because it also helps with the uniformity of the presentation. And what I mean by that is that in Slide Sorter, you can actually preset text in the background. And what you will see here is that if you look on this, this is one of the preset slides. This is what you call the Slide Master. Now, you may have seen up here, and I'm actually going to go back real quick and let you see the firsthand. So on one of these slides, you see here that you actually had the presentation. Now, each slide has all these its own text boxes and stuff, where you can change this stuff. However, if you see at the top right corner here, you got this PowerPoint thing. You notice that clicking on it, I can't move it. Okay, I can't move it right now, and you know why? Because this PowerPoint image that you see, the little logo of PowerPoint, is actually in the Slide Master. In Slide Master, again, we go to View, Slide Master. When you look up here, and I'm going to the slide that actually is that, which should be this one here. I can now see that I can click that. So you're now seeing that Slide Master can actually help you pre-format your slides so it will be uniform all the way across the presentation. Very, very important, because if you do have a logo that you want to show most often, if you wanted to have it on every slide and you didn't want it to move, this is how you do it. You go into, again, Slide Master, you create the slide you want, and say we have the logos, and then we have the name of the presentation, and then my name, all of that stuff at the bottom. That will be uniform on every slide when you put this together. But like I say, you put a logo in here, you do it in Slide Master, so then it doesn't get moved, because you might actually have a bunch of information on the actual slide. See, for instance, if I'm doing this here, I could move this all the way around, get it up in here and all, and I can move this around up on this side. But the good news is when I click on the actual PowerPoint logo, it's not moving. It stays there. Same thing down here. These are all the Slide Master views, because now these things just stay fixed on the slide, and all I'm having to do is just move the text. So that's a really nice feature in PowerPoint. You can set things up, preset up ahead of time. And then whenever you're doing your slides, you can move it all the way around and move it to a different size or the other. Keeps the audience engaged. That's also a real nice way to doing it. But I just want to show you where that was at. Slide Master, and again, how you get there. You're going to go into View. The view is, like I said, you can look at all these different views here. And then you can go right here to Slide Master. Again, the master slides control the look of your entire presentation, including the colors, fonts, backgrounds, effects, and just about everything else. You can insert a shape or a logo like we showed you on the Slide Master, for example, and it will show up on all of your slides automatically. Very, very important feature, just to let you know, but you can actually change those in here. And then as in Slide Master, I can actually move that around if I wanted to. See, I can move that here. So I just move that there, close that out, and it's all right there where I can't move it. I can move this stuff, but I can't move the logo. So a very nice little difference that I wanted you to see there. But then again, when you transition stuff, you can actually transitions are nice, because then you can actually apply these to all slides if you wanted to. Say, for instance, I wanted to have all of these slides split. And I'm going to go back here to my slide sorter view. Okay, back to transitions. Now, what's really cool about this is that when you get into transitions, you can now apply for instance, let's say the split, okay? So I've got a split on here as far as my transition. I click on this, I click on that. I can actually do a preview of this. See, look at that. You can see in Slide Sorter, you can actually see what's happening with what you applied, okay? I didn't like that one so much, but I want to do maybe, let's say, cover. So that's kind of cool. You can just slides on in there as a cover. So now I kind of like that all the way around. So what do I want to do? I can actually, not on that menu, but I can go right over here. Yeah, let me move this thing again. It's always in the way here. I can actually then, I like this cover thing. I can actually go and apply all. So now, when I go in here and preview, look at that. Slide 2, like that. Slide 3, like that. You see the whole picture. You now can now all of your slides are doing that, and then your presentation is real consistent. So you can look at those things and then you can apply all that stuff. See again, slide number 6 on the animation. It does it automatically, which is really cool. And you can also go in further. So for instance, I want this effect to also come from the top right, from the top in this case. Okay, on slide 6 here, that's what we did. So when I preview that, I kind of like the top more often, okay? I can apply all again and then preview. Look at that. See, it's all coming down now. And then I can also say, I can advance. See, that's why Slide Sorter is so cool. You have the transition and you can see all the slides. You can then apply these timings if you wanted to. And like the duration of slides, I want this slide, say for instance, I want the first slide to go 10 seconds. I can go 0.10, I believe it is. Okay. And I can apply all of these in here. Okay, so now, like I say, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not in presenter view. Let's see here. Slideshow. Okay, no presenter view. Primary monitor. Let's see, it should do it. So let's go here from the beginning. Nope, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Hold on. Okay, so let's try this. Primary monitor from the beginning. There we go. So now you could do that. It moves in. I'm using the arrow keys now, and see how quickly it's starting to come down. It shoots down really, really quickly. So like I say, you can change these transitions at any time. You can actually, if you wanted to record the show, you could. If you want the timings, you can. So like again, in the transitions here, you can actually, if you wanted to do all of these, apply all. And see on certain slides too, which are really cool, you can then go on mouse click, and then after so many seconds, so for instance, I want to do let's do 10 seconds. Let's see, colon, I think it was. Like that. Oh. There we go. So like 19 seconds, for instance, you can then apply all. Now you see that now. So like after 19 seconds, you have this applied now. And actually, I want to take that down a little less so we can see for demonstration. So let's do it down for 6 seconds, okay? Yeah, it took it back there. Let's see here. 06. All right, so now I'm going to apply all. So now, as you can see in here, you now look at here and it says 6 seconds on all these slides, okay? Just zoomed in a little bit. Now I'm going to go back in here to my slideshow. I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm not going to touch this time. I'm going to let you see it for yourself. So from the beginning, let's look at it again. So let's transition animate session 2, Michael Levy. All right, there it goes. You see it's automatically going. All right, zoom etiquette. I do have to hit I think I had to have the mouse click on there. So after that, it switched over to the next slide. And then there it goes again. So there, let's animate. Every 6 seconds, it's switching the slide. So now, just like you're seeing here. So now you get the idea. So you're now you see how that all applies. You can go in. Slide sorter is such a great view to be in. So again, the view, slide sorter, now you're seeing all this. You can then go back to transitions, animations, depending on what slide you want to do. In animations, again, you may want to get more detailed by going into the slide mode, by double clicking on it. Transitions you could do from here, which are real nice. And if you wanted to apply a sound, you could. Say, for instance, I want to do a breeze. I could do that too. And now let me go back from the beginning. So here it's going to do that. So after 6 seconds, it's going to take it in here. It did like a little breeze in there. May not have heard it, but it was there. But like you can apply all these things and go from there. Sounds good. So now, like I say, that is how all the transitions work. Timing. You could put all these things together and make a really great presentation. Okay, let's go ahead and head back to the main presentation real quick. Let me stop share and go on back in here. Okay, so we just did our last review. Now in summary, as of today, you're now seeing how transitions and animations work. We discovered that the animations help capture your audience by some of those different things. When we looked back before, when you looked at these animations, like you saw here, you could change them on any slide, a text box or an object, and turn that into an animation. And you can set it up where it does it automatically or by click. So those are a lot of the great things you can do. And also, we also learned about some of these effects and timings. As you saw back in here, you can actually do some of the effects and stuff that you've done. You can actually put in where it will transition on time. You can transition again on some of these different little settings. And when I looked at that again, when you go back in the presentation and see that, you can actually change the stuff, you know, again, right through, even on the transitions. You can then take this stuff and you can change the effects of it. If I want to do one separate one with wind like that, you could. I could just set that up by that self. And then I can go back into slideshow view from the beginning. So here's the first slide, but watch the second slide when it comes up here. Look at that. See, it transitioned just the slide itself. Now watch it, what it'll do. It'll go back to the other one. Oh, I forgot. This is the one I had to click on. All right. So watch this one. Is it going to do the same thing or is it going to do different? It did different. And you know why? Because I set this one up by itself. I didn't hit apply all slides. So on here, if I wanted to, I could go back into those transitions and set up another one. For instance, I like those, what was it? I forget it was. I think it was fall over, if I remember right. No, it wasn't fall over. May have been the wind. Yeah, it was wind. So I could actually do that and apply all slides now and save. And now I have it where I can do that. And you can transition these things all the way around. So again, that's how all of that works. Transitions, animations, they kind of work hand in hand. You can put these timings in here and allow your presentation to go at its own pace, or you can still, or you don't have to do the presentation with slide transition numbers, and you can add slide numbers if you wanted to, or you don't even have to advance on click. You could just have it automatically do that too after 6 seconds. So it's again, you look up here on these transitions, you have that whole bar, and you have all these slides here you can do that stuff with. So it's really important that you just have that in this view so you can do it how you can control the whole presentation. Very, very cool stuff. So let me go back here. I just wanted to set that example here for you. And then we saw again the different slide transitions, like I showed you. You can change it to whatever transitions you want with the other amount of time in between slides, and then go from there. And you can control it at certain times as well. But there's lots of different options when it comes to transitions, animations, effects, and the timings. Very, very important stuff. So we're now at the conclusion of the training, and again, this time is for you to ask your questions. And go ahead and shoot away. And again, we are at the conclusion of the presentation. The floor is yours. Thanks again.